Influencing without authority is the number one most underrated skill of good product managers. The reason it's underrated is because it's a little bit vague. I think that people don't fully understand what it means to influence without authority. Really, if I was to break it down, the main, traits or skills of someone who can influence without authority are empathy and, persuasion and salesmanship. So the reason you need empathy is that you need to be able to put yourself in the shoes of other people in your organization who you want to do something for you or in service of some project that you're working on. These people have other goals and motivations to the goals that you have. If you can't put yourself in their shoes and understand what they want, and then adjust or cater what you are doing to show them how that will help them achieve what they want, then you'll never be able to influence people to come together and to kind of all pull in the same direction so that you can arrive at a product that was your making essentially. I find that people struggle with this. They get very frustrated when they see people around them in their organization. So when I say around them in their organization, I mean marketing directors, salespeople, customer support, operations folks, project management, and engineering, of course. All of these different personas within your organization have different motivations, have different goals, and within the context of their career need to show certain outputs to progress. And really, influencing without authority is about understanding those motivations and trying to align what you are trying to do such that it will help them in achieving whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, whether it's a promotion in their career, whether it's exposure to certain technologies, whether it's hitting certain even metrics on their side. It could be like a customer support person needs to drive down the average time to resolution of a ticket, and if you introduce some feature that's extremely complex, that could end up having a likelihood of doing the opposite of what they are targeted with. Understanding people is a skill that is necessary to be a good product manager and a skill that's necessary to influence without authority. If people think that the actions or the things that you are proposing and trying to drive through is not going to benefit them, why would they invest their time and effort to do it? And even if you do have some degree of authority, right? Even if you can tell them what to do, they're not going to want to do it if they feel like they're being forced to. And they're certainly not going to give their all, right? They'll do the bare minimum just to kind of tick a box and move back to trying to address whatever their own goals are. So I think that the key skill that product managers need is they need to be able to understand what these incentives and motivations are and then try to align them to whatever you're trying to do with your product or set of product features. And this doesn't extend just to stakeholders, right? I mean stakeholders like peer level stakeholders. This extends to your own manager. It extends to her or his manager. It extends to every single individual who has some degree of input to your product. And I think that if product managers were slightly more deliberate about how they identify these motivations and then map them to what you're trying to do and to see where is there going to be inevitable conflict of interest. If I want to bring a new complex feature to market and my customer service agents or my customer service support people have goals that are about reducing time to resolution of issues on the product, you know that it's going to be a friction point, and you can act in advance to make sure that for that specific feature for maybe a period of time, they're not punished because you have gone and launched something into the market. When people feel like their actions contributing towards a project will help them to get towards their own goals, they're going to be exponentially more likely to want to get involved and to want to make that project a success. When they feel like what you're doing is going to directly conflict with their goals, of course, they're not going to want to help. In fact, they might even try to sabotage the whole thing. So I just think that this is one of the most overlooked things that I've seen from product managers, that they tend to just think that, well, I'm a product manager now, I get to call the shots, I get to make the decisions, and sure, you get to make some decisions. But you really want to do it in such a way that everyone has a vested interest in this being a success. If you can do that, the chances of it being a success are much, much higher. Look, it takes a lot of things to go right to make a good product, and it doesn't take much to throw a product off course. And you want to minimize, as much as is humanly possible, the sources of driving a product off course. You want to eliminate those sources as much as possible. I don't think that product managers in general spend enough time identifying the motivations of their stakeholders, their colleagues, their management and their leadership before trying to pursue an idea. And if they had just stepped back and evaluated each stakeholder and put them into different categories depending on the likelihood of pushback from these people, they could have come up with a clear strategy of how to do that. I help product managers pivot into product management, and this is one of the key skills that I teach.